Good morning from Clarksville, Virginia. I'm Rex Masterman. I'm about to turn 80 here in a couple days. Thought I'd get a little snapshot of what I remember of my life. I was born on December 6, 1943 in LaPorte, Indiana, which is about 15 miles from Walkerton, Indiana, where I spent the majority of my life. It's interesting, for the first couple of years, they had probably zero pictures of me, of my siblings, Janice and Richard. Janice was born in 1939, Richard was born in 1940, and then they skipped a couple of years and had me. But no photographs that we could ever find of me during the first probably 2-3 years of my life, but so be it. Grew up in a small town, Walkerton, Indiana, 1,800 people. Went to Walkerton grade school, high school, played in the Walkerton marching band. I was a drummer, and graduated when I was 17 years old. I went into the Army Reserves, spent 9 years in Army Reserves, sacrificing 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of my summers, and was on military call. This was a 105 and 155 artillery, U.S. Army, and we were next in line to be called up to be deported to Vietnam. However, unfortunately, fortunately for me, I guess, our unit did not go, and the war ended, so that's great news. Played in a rock and roll band, Stingrays, from 1962 to 1969. We backed up several well-known bands. The Kingsmen had the Louie Louie song out, the Birds, a very popular group back then. We played probably 3-4 nights a week for about 9-10 years. Met my first wife at a dance, Elaine, 1964. We were married. 1966, we had Brett, and Brett was our only child. We managed that marriage for the first 9 years of my life, or her life, I guess, and then we divorced. And 1974, I met the girl of my dreams. Actually, in 1974, we got married. I'd known her for about 7 or 8 years. We worked together in South Bend, Indiana. 1974, we got married November 22nd, and we've been married 49 years to date. We have 2 children. Shane was born December 19th, 1976, and Jennifer was born December 11th, 1978. We live pretty much all over the country. We started off in Walkerton, and then moved to Indianapolis, and from Indianapolis we moved to Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan, we moved to Dallas, Texas in 1981. That's when I went to work for Lomas Mortgage. Thought since I was moving to Dallas, Texas, I'd get to be able to take our horses out there, but the company would not move horses, so we had to sell our horses. We had Lady and Red back in those days. Debbie had Lady and I had Red, but it was good times, but really too expensive to have a horse out there anyway. I spent the next 15 years of my life with Lomas Mortgage as a senior executive vice president over 60-some branches throughout the United States. Had many great times, many great opportunities. Unfortunately, they went Chapter 13 in 1995 and was forced to take early retirement. But I'm going to flip-flop a little back to my childhood and what I remember growing up around Walkerton. My dad worked for Studebakers, which then, as I graduated from high school, I actually worked for Studebakers in South Bend, Indiana also. But had a great family upbringing. Was involved in the marching band. Was very involved in our Evangelical United Methodist Church that we belonged to, and played basketball on the church league. Never played basketball in high school. I was only like 4'9" in high school and didn't really get my growth until I went in the service when I was 17. So late bloomer, I guess. But did a lot of fishing with my dad. Our summers basically, Dad, when he was not working at Studebaker, we'd go to Wisconsin or Minnesota camping, and a lot of fun we had with our cousins, Barb and Nancy and Connie and Roxy and the Elmer Masterman family. Somebody came to Grandma's house about every Saturday or Sunday. They'd pull up in the driveway at 4 or 5 o'clock, and she wouldn't think a thing about it. She'd go out to the freezer and bring in whatever we're going to have for dinner that night, and fed everybody. We played cards, lots of games. Fun time growing up. Great memories. I raised rabbits in 4-H. Won Reserve Grand Champion in LaPorte, Indiana. Also had sheep, and one year I had 3 sheep in they were looking real good. Took them to 4-H, and my dad had the great idea of he thought we better wash them and get them all cleaned up and look pretty pure white. Well, we did. Well, I ended up getting Reserve Grand Champion because when we washed them, we took all the lanolin out of the sheep's wool, and the judges couldn't feel the lanolin, so I got Reserve Grand Champion. But still had a great time, and as a kid, always had dogs and cats and rabbits and raccoons, pets, and horses and pigs, and pig story. Grandpa Feckler, my mom's dad, and my grandpa lived in Bremen, Indiana on an 80-acre farm, and he gave me the option of looking at all these pigs that were going to have little ones, and said, pick out one and I'll bring her down, and you can have her and the piglets. I picked the fattest one of the group, and guess what? Mine had twins, and all of his had 10, 11 little pigs. So I guess the moral of the story is don't get greedy and take the one that looks like it's going to be the best. It's not always the best. So, but many good times. We went to my grandparents' barbie every weekend down to the farm, so it was always a treat for us, and always had a good time. We had popcorn every night that we were down there, and they would bring up their homemade grape juice, and we got this little tiny glass of grape juice, and that's all you got. So you better sip it real slowly, because it's and when the popcorn was out, there was no going back for seconds. But good times. All the cousins and nephews and all the family came down for Christmas, and we had a great time. But great memories growing up. Had great memories raising our children, and now we got grandchildren. We have Brett's boys, Trevor and Tanner, and Trevor's in his 30s, and Tanner's I think 18 or 19 now. Shane and Lauren have Olivia, she's 11. Jenny and Brent have Michaela, who just turned 13, and Bentley, who was 11, and Dallas, who was 6. And we're living in Clarksville, Virginia now, and enjoying a slower pace of life out of the Dallas traffic. I worked for home builders in Dallas for several years, and unfortunately, at the end of my demise, there was they didn't treat me very well on my retirement, and ended up losing a lot of money. But if you don't have a lot of money, you don't have to worry about spending a lot. So we're a little find our budget in earlier years where we did a lot of great and interesting things, but life, so be it. Love where we're living, love the slower pace of life, love the fish. We went to Canada every year for 8 years, took Shane up there for 6 years, and totally enjoyed being with my brother and Shane and my buddy Chucky and a great friend of mine, Francis Martin, who was a sculptor, and even took Tim Christie up fishing one year with us. Great time. Accumulated a lot of friends over the years. Now, as the age goes by, we're getting back in touch with a lot of them. So we miss y'all. But great 80-year run it's been. I hope I live as long as my mother. She lived to 97. My father, not so much. Harry passed away at 73. So I guess if you take the averages in there, I'm still in pretty good shape. But I'm healthy. I feel good. Still very active and working out in the yard, enjoying life, enjoying the grandkids coming over and being close to Jenny and Brent. We live on the 800-mile shoreline lake called Carr Lake or Bugs Island Lake in Virginia and in the border of North Carolina. We're actually on the 5 mile away from the border of North Carolina, and we're about an hour away from Raleigh, North Carolina, where we fly out to the airport. Just got back from a 7-day cruise with my sister, Fred and Jan Schultz, from Leesburg, Florida, and my cousin Barb and Joe Yoakum from Sarasota, Florida. Great memories, had a great time, played a lot of cards, had a lot of fun, and so it's kind of brings you up to date of a snapshot of my life. It's 80 years went by pretty fast. So my words to you would be slow down, enjoy life, because you never know when tomorrow is your last day. So I hope I last many more days to see some great grandchildren. But if I don't, I'm sure we would have been proud of you. So love y'all, and so this is a Merry Christmas 2023 and a Happy New Year and happy birthday to myself. 80 years going strong. So love y'all, and hope you enjoy this little snapshot of Rex Masterman.